Hey y'all, it is the San Anto Report. It is October the 24th of 2025, alright? This right here is news for San Antonio, specifically in regards to San Antonio. I do want to mention, oh man, the news. Crazy, wild stuff is happening, right? You might know a thing or two about it. And I'll have you know that I know something about it too as well. The news abounding all over this nation, all over the world. But we're here today, right now, obviously, to focus on San Antonio, all right? Specifically, and all the wild stuff that you may or may not have any idea what is going on right now, right? And it's not just right now, it's really all the time. It is very hard to go ahead and consolidate all the news items that are worth finding out about. It's hard to keep abreast of all of them. That's why you came here. That's why you made it here. All right, and I thank you and I congratulate you as well. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty, all right? If you're one of those people who want to get down to the nitty gritty, we're about to do it. So we're going to do what's called a news blitz. And on the next video that I upload after this, we're going to have something of an editorial rant, if you will. Who's to say? What are we going to call it? I don't know. But a rant, if you will. An editorial type thing after this, but for this video, we're going to go straight report. We're going to go straight nitty gritty news blitz, all the stuff that you may or may not know about. Plus, there's probably all sort of stuff that we just don't even know, that I don't even know. We're going to get better and better at it. When it comes to San Antonio, we're going to stay on top of it. All right. So before we get into this news blitz, I'll have you know, if you don't know, of course, there's Murdas. Not to say recent, or kind of recent, some are old murders, but people getting arrested for murder. We're going to talk about that tonight, obviously. Right? Well, I don't want to say obviously, because hopefully we don't talk about it every single time, but yeah, people getting arrested for murder. That's for sure. Right? There's all sort of little girls beating up other little girls up in the middle school. We're going to talk about that. A huge, massive brawl. Have you heard about that? I want to say it's like today. I don't know. We're going to look into that. Massive brawl taking place at Highlands High School. I don't know if you heard about that. TCEQ is talking about water, and that's actually pretty damn important. We're going to talk about that. Some people might already be abreast of the Hualote Ranch development. Most people aren't. So we're going to talk about that. Rabid Skunks. I'm not making any of this up. We're going to talk about that here in San Antonio, Texas. That's a skunk with rabies, all right? Better watch out. That's my worst nightmare, to be honest with you. But all sort of stuff. Women being driven off the road while on their motorcycles, breaking bones and all sort of stuff in San Antonio. We're going to talk about a lot, right? A man being charged with harming the children. We're going to talk about that. And all sort of stuff. All right. Lastly, and I'm going to mention it at the end, what may or may not be a cover up of an elementary school that was, it was under lockdown, hard lockdown, and you might not even have heard of it. In fact, it may or may not even be in the news, all right? But I done seen it on Facebook. Artificial intelligence told me about all of it anyways, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. It might be a cover-up of a lockdown taking place at what's called a Price Elementary School here in San Antonio. And maybe you didn't hear about it, even though someone threatened to shoot up the elementary school and they put it on hard lockdown. Hard lockdown, and didn't want to tell anybody about it. Might be a cover up in the news, y'all. All right, so we're going to get into that. And right now, I gave you a taste. Let's get into the news blitz, all right? Because I know your time's precious. as is mine. We got to get down to the real nitty gritty. It's no in particular order, so we're just going to get at it. The little girl, there's a little 14-year-old girl, and she beat the brakes off of another girl at a middle school. Shout out to HB Zachary Middle School, all right? So just to give you an idea what the heck was going on, according to News for San Antonio, a Northside Independent School District middle school student is facing charges following a violent assault at a Zachary Middle School, which was captured on video. If you like to see that sort of thing, you can go ahead and do it. A 14-year-old named Nevaeh Glenn got dragged by her hair and repeatedly punched while other students just watched. If anybody's surprised by that, I'm sorry to tell you, you should not be surprised by that. Teachers eventually intervened, but Nevaeh's parents claimed that there were warning signs and they were ignored. Oh, it's very unfortunate. The next news story, no in particular order, TCEQ approves controversial wastewater plant for Huatalote ranch development. If you're concerned about that and you didn't want them to do that, it looks like they don't give a damn about what you want or anything like that. So just to give you an idea, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, the TCEQ, voted to approve a permit for a controversial wastewater treatment plant in northwest Bexar County, a decision that comes after months of heated debate over potential environmental impacts. All right, and just real briefly, I want to say the plant to be built in Gray Forests will serve the proposed Huatalote Ranch development, a project that calls for roughly 2,900 homes in that area. So northwest of the northwest side. The permit allows for the release of, get this, up to 1 million gallons of treated wastewater each and every day, into Helotes Creek watershed, a tributary that feeds directly into the Edwards Aquifer, which is a major source of drinking water for the entire region. Some people might care about it. We'll talk about that later. All right. That's actually kind of important. A Texas man arrested in connection to a 2019, this is an old murder, but he just got arrested for a murder of a teen boxer here in San Antonio. You might have heard of that. They caught the guy, all right, which you might have thought was a cold case. The San Antonio Police Department has arrested a man in connection to the 2019 murder of George Ramos, who was 18 at the time of his death, all right? So back in June 20th, 2019, Ramos was found dead of an SUV inside of an SUV on Calabria Road. Shout out to Calabria Road, but that's unfortunate. We don't want to hear about that, but Calabria Road, all right? So after police said he was shot several times following a meetup with what SAPD suspected at the time was 2 other people. So I don't know if it was or was not, but they allegedly had just found the murderer, all right? Scooped him up off the streets, okay? So there was another man, and he was charged with a murder in a deadly shooting outside of a West Side bar. And I think this was actually pretty recent that he shot up whoever. He shot up somebody at a West Side bar. Not very surprised by that, but authorities have arrested a man in connection to a fatal shooting outside of a West Side bar. 43-year-old Ramiro Espinosa Jr. is accused of the shooting that occurred on October the 19th, 2025, outside of business on historic Old Highway 90. All right, so as far as the victim, his name is Julio Cesar Martinez Padron. A 59-year-old man was found unresponsive in his vehicle with gunshot wounds to the dome. Witnesses reported that an argument between Padron and Espinosa began inside the location and certainly escalated outside of that location. So they've scooped up our man right there for murder, right? So San Antonio police arrest a Texas man accused of a series of violent attacks. I don't even remember this one, to be honest. Investigators say 25-year-old Wayne Mercado III, you better watch out for him out there if you're encountering him. He's facing multiple felony charges tied to a violent convenience store attack and an armed robbery days later. All right, he needed that money. I wonder if he got money both times. I wonder if he's really living like that. A man accused in a string of violent crimes, including a brutal beating and a shooting outside a convenience store, is now behind bars after weeks on the run, according to San Antonio police. Investigators say 25-year-old Wayne Mercado III was taken into custody nearly a month after the first attack, so he was on the run for a good while. That happened apparently on September the 23rd outside a Picnic convenience store. So, they scooped him up and, only took a month. So that's pretty good, I gotta say. And I'm not just being sarcastic. Person fatally struck by a freight train near the airport. Did you hear about this? I mean, this is all recent. This is all this week. Some person was struck by a freight train near the airport, they say. Authorities are investigating after a person was fatally struck by a train on the north side. Shout out to the north side. It's the best side, and I really do mean it. Around 6:15 p.m. on Tuesday, first responders were called to the scene of an incident involving a train near the corner of Wetmore Road and Broadway. When crews arrived, they found a middle-aged male with severe injuries. The victim has yet to be identified and was pronounced dead at the scene. Unfortunately, all right? So we got to get to the bottom of that, why exactly he was out there, but it was probably not good. So I did want to make a quick mention of the San Antonio Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's, for those who don't know, San Antonio, for whatever reason, is famous for its domestic violence, unfortunately. October is a National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and there are a number of different events to raise awareness in the effort to prevent and end domestic violence. And I guess there are events designed to let you know that you're getting your ass beat at home, if in case you didn't know. There's a stepmom that was accused in another murder. Plenty of murders going around. But a stepmom accused in a murder of Savannah Soto and Matthew Garrett. And this is actually kind of like the murder was quite a while back, but they're all up in court and stuff. They're talking a mess. All right, so the stepmom has bond reduction denied. Basically, that's the new update. She was requesting a bond reduction, get her ass out of jail. They said denied because we don't like what you did, all right? Or we don't like what you allegedly did. So just to give you a taste, the stepmom accused of helping her stepson conceal evidence in a triple hat trick murder had her bond reduction denied. All right. So Mirta Ramos is being accused of helping her stepson, Christopher Preciado, conceal evidence in a triple murder. All right. And just so that you know, it was a man and his lady in the murder. And the lady was pregnant. She was pretty damn pregnant, so that counts as a third murder, all right? And so they're getting into trouble for that. So I was talking about a skunk with rabies. Kind of wish I was making that up, but no. A child exposed to a rabid skunk on the north side, shout out to the north side, marks, get this, an 18th positive case in Bexar County, all right? It's just like, you don't want to have too many of those cases of rabies. You certainly don't want to have a skunk with rabies. So a recent rabies case involving a skunk has led San Antonio Animal Care Services and the Metropolitan Health District to urge the public to exercise caution around wildlife and unknown animals. So last week, a 7-year-old child was exposed to a rabid skunk near their home off Bitters Road and Wood Valley Drive. That's terrifying. I mean, especially for a 7-year-old child, but even I would be terrified because, first of all, everybody's weary of skunks. You know, the skunks could hit you with a smell that, of course, everybody knows about. But, you know, imagine a skunk that's not even scared of you, because most skunks are scared. Imagine a skunk with rabies, right? That's terrifying. Anyway, San Antonio food assistance at risk of government shutdowns continue. I don't think I read that correct. San Antonio food assistance at risk as government shutdowns continue. That's like a national thing as far as the government shutdowns and a lot of stuff falling apart. Of course, that's national news as far as the different things that are falling apart and are going to continue to fall apart if they keep going and doing what they're doing. But of course, it does hit close to home because a lot of people need food assistance. They might run out of that. So there was a woman injured after being forced off of a highway by a reckless driver. And I say, you don't want to hear about that. Some woman on a motorcycle. She was a badass. Said a woman suffered a broken arm after crashing her motorcycle when another driver allegedly forced her off the highway on the far northwest side. Shout out to the far northwest side. You know, that's really one of the best sides, but it's a lot of tomfoolery going on lately. The incident happened around 1 a.m. Thursday off of State Highway 151 near Westover Hills Boulevard. I mean, that's my neck of the woods, bub. Forcing ladies off the highway on their motorcycles. There's no need for that. But of course, people drive drunk here in San Antonio a lot. All right, so Bill Miller's family. Here's a good story from News 4 San Antonio. The Bill Miller family. People in San Antonio know, right? I don't have to tell you what's Bill Miller's. But everybody else, you might not know. I'm sorry about it. But the Bill Miller family, they apparently donated $192,000 donation dollars to save Meals for Wheels. Now, some people might not know it. And I don't know how extensive it is. I don't know how many people they feed. I don't know how many, what kind of quality food. When it comes to Meals for Wheels, I don't know what the hell y'all are doing. I know what you're doing, but I don't know how many people receive Meals on Wheels. I'm going to have to look into that. The Bill Miller family donated $192,000 to the cause because Meals on Wheels, they're like losing funds or whatnot. Meals on Wheels announced that it was starting November the 3rd due to the cuts in funding. Meal delivery services for hundreds of clients will be suspended due to the funding cuts. That's when the Bill Miller family stepped up. They delivered the goods. God bless them, dude. Bill Miller's a beacon of hope for San Antonio, and they have been since I can remember. All right, so before we get about it here, let me also mention the big massive fight. There was a big massive fight. Highlands High School. All right, apparently, I think it was today, if I'm not mistaken. I think it might have been today. All right, so according to an affidavit that you can find on Kents5.com, affidavit says massive fight at Highlands High School leads to charges of several students and a staff member was injured. So, investigators said surveillance footage and cell phone videos captured part of the incident, and it always does. I mean, obviously, at a high school, they're all going to whip out their cell phones, and that's the show. And you should have surveillance on it. But the 7 students, 7 of them, are facing charges after a large fight at Highlands High School last month, and apparently it was last month. It's not exactly breaking, but still, I guess. I don't know. It was last month. I didn't hear about it until today. It left a staff member injured. According to the arrest affidavit, the fight broke out around 1:30 p.m. on September the 30th in the school's courtyard, where investigators said an estimated 50 students gathered to watch as several classmates punched and kicked each other all over the place, right? And of course, like, I just assume this is happening everywhere, right? It's definitely in the San Antonio culture for gangs to gather at school and fight each other, right? In vicious, brutal fashions, typically. Right? I don't know who's surprised by that, but so there was a man arrested as well. Let me take a look at this. Now, I want to say this happened today as well. I mean, wild stuff, dude. Get this. A man arrested, charged after attempting to drive through a gate at Calaveras Power Plant Station. According to BCSO, that's Bexar County Sheriff's Office, a security guard shot Sergio Chapa Jr., 61. He suffered a non-life-threatening gunshot wound. All right, so let's give you a little idea. A 61-year-old man was arrested and charged after he drove through a front gate, like we were talking about, the Calaveras Power Plant Station. The incident happened just before 5 p.m. This was yesterday, on Thursday, in the 12,000 block of U.S. Highway 181 South. Deputies say that Sergio Chapa Jr. drove his 2007 white Infiniti G35 into the facility and towards a security officer. The security officer then fired his weapon once and struck Chapa in the upper leg. According to BCSO, Chapa was transported to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. So, thankfully, the Calaveras Power Plant Station belongs to CPS Energy. A CPS Energy spokesperson sent KSAT the following statement on Thursday night. We can confirm that an individual attempted to force entry with his vehicle through the gates to our Calaveras power plant. Security took the steps to prevent this dastardly act. We're working with law enforcement and our plant is secure. Thank God. I don't exactly know what was his intentions. I mean, we're just finding out about this, but gosh, they really can't be good, dude. I don't want anyone trying to drive through power plants in San Antonio. So one of the last things I'll mention is a San Antonio man was accused in let me just bring this up. San Antonio man accused in Guadalupe County child abuse, and you know what word I was about to say, abuse of that kind. There was a case on him, and he was a fugitive for a little while, hiding out inside San Antonio. All right, so he did it off in some other county. He did it off in Guadalupe County, came running as a fugitive to Bexar County up here in San Antonio. A San Antonio man was arrested Wednesday in connection with a Guadalupe county child abuse case, according to the officials. This man's name is Peyton Lee Ruyle. It's spelled Ruyle. I have no idea how you say that. 22-year-old man was arrested in San Antonio by the Guadalupe County Sheriff's Office Fugitive Apprehension Unit. He faces a charge of a certain kind of assault on a child, according to the Guadalupe County court records. According to the jail records, the offense occurred back in January 2024. And here's the thing. I'm sure countless cases of this sort of thing going on. Can you imagine as a little child that this happens to you? And this guy goes on the run since January 2024. It's damn near almost 2 years later. This guy was on the run, right? So thankfully, they scooped his ass up. Now, the last thing that I want to mention before we get up out of here, it was something that I had to look up, right? And I actually had trouble finding it. I'm gonna get back to you on this because it seems to me and appears to me to be a cover-up, and I do mean it, but I don't. It's like, okay, we'll find out if it's a cover-up. It looks like a cover-up, okay? Because Grok told me. See, I was getting intel from Grok. You got to know how to talk to Grok to get all the intel, to squeeze it for the information. You're not just gonna be able to. You really got to dig into Grok, all right? Know how Grok work in order to get the info. Now, after I was interrogating Grok for a while, Grok told me that there was a lockdown at a elementary school. And the reason why, and I believe this is on the south side, is an elementary school called Price Elementary School. And Grok told me about it. Like I said, the school allegedly went onto what's called a hard lockdown, meaning they thought there was credible reason to believe that somebody was going to shoot up the elementary school. Seems like a big deal, right? And so so I found out about this from Grok, right? And then, and we'll talk more about this later. Hopefully it's not what I think it is. Then I started to look, Google it and stuff, find out. You use keywords. Of course, Price Elementary School, lockdown, San Antonio. I want to know about it. Could not find it. So I brought up the news tab and everything. Just wasn't there. Couldn't find it. So I asked Grok, I was like, hey, Grok, how exactly do I find more information about this supposed lockdown that you're telling me about that I haven't heard from no one but you? And I'm over here Googling it, and they're not telling me nothing about it either. So the reason it seems that it might have been a cover-up is that Grok told me, they said, look, there's several different ways, because I asked it, how can you find this information? Where can I find this at? He said, there's several different ways that you can find this kind of information, bub. Told me, go to this place. Go into their search tab. Type in these keywords. Should pop right up. Right? And so Grok led me to KSAT.com. Led me to Ken's 5. Led me to News for San Antonio and all that. Said, look up these keywords. The story should pop right up. Did not pop up. I went to all these different main publications in San Antonio about the news. Typed in the exact keywords. Price Elementary School. What's going on? Nothing. I said, isn't that peculiar? And I had to actually step back and think, well, maybe Grok got this all wrong, and this is something that it just like hallucinated. Didn't really even happen, right? Perhaps Grok is slipping and tripping. I went to Grok and I said, what's the damn deal? I can't find, where's the information? They said, well, it seems as though the mainstream news not really reporting on this. Said, but these reports are coming from like smaller publications that are coming on like social media and stuff like that. And so I went ahead and I started poking around social media. Not sure exactly where I would go, so I thought about it. Facebook. I don't know about where you're at, but in San Antonio, a lot of people use Facebook. There's other apps like Nextdoor and stuff like that, and perhaps they would have been talking about it. But I went to Facebook to see if anybody had heard about this. The news wasn't talking about it. I mean, the idea of an elementary school being threatened to get shot up in San Antonio, and you're not going to talk about it. That's wild. So I went on Facebook, and sure enough, I'm looking at it right now. All sort of people have reported on this. All right, so maybe they're all making it up, but I doubt it. So I want to tell you what one of them says. A man out by the name of James Williams, and this is like a whole bunch of people were talking about this. On his Facebook, he said, according to the San Antonio Police Department, officers were dispatched to the school shortly after 10 a.m. following a 911 call reporting a potential threat on or near the campus. The school immediately went into lockdown as law enforcement moved in to secure the area. All right. So that's like one report. And I'm seeing other reports that describe it in different kind of details. All right. Some of the reports were describing it as a hard lockdown. And this is what I would assume, but they went ahead and used the terminology hard lockdown. So let's read one more report that I'm seeing on Facebook. All right. This is, so wait, who shared this? A Miss Brow. These are individuals who are posting it up on Facebook, but there's like smaller publications that are actually writing stories about it. And it makes you wonder, well, you can't find it on Google, and what's the deal with that? It seems like it's being covered up. So, according to lastrespect.com, or whatever the hell that is, Last Respect is what it's called, publication. According to them, Price Elementary School lockdown, armed police at Price Elementary in San Antonio, Texas, reports of an active shooter. All right. Police swarmed Price Elementary School in San Antonio on Thursday morning after reports of possible active shooter led to the campus being placed on, like I said, a hard lockdown. According to the San Antonio Police Department, officers were dispatched, as we mentioned before, to the school shortly after 10 a.m. following a 911 call reporting a potential threat on or near the campus. The school immediately went into lockdown as law enforcement moved in to secure the area. Now, mind you, at the end of the day, nobody got shot at. They did not catch a person attempting to shoot people up, all right? But somebody allegedly threatened to shoot up the elementary school. This is all over the place, just so that you know. But it is happening in San Antonio, and that's for sure. And not just once. It's happening multiple times. And who's to say how many multiple times? Just because this incident seems to be covered up right now, like they're covering it up. So not only is there the threat against your children to shoot them up, but as I've been saying for years, even if that threat wasn't credible, even if it wasn't, maybe somebody being real slick, that person needs to go to jail for a long time. Maybe somebody calling in a false alarm, right? Being slick. They lock down your children's school. They've been doing this for years. It's the most precarious situation I could ever imagine, because who's to say how long they're going to let an active shooter just roam around? This has happened before. And not only that, if you as a parent come to the campus, you think you're going to like pick up your child, no the hell you're not. They will shoot you if you try to do that, or they'll at least arrest you or something like that. It really is like that. And I can't think of a more precarious situation. And to think that perhaps this is being covered up, make you wonder why. But that's it for the News Blitz. That was just this week, all right? Wild shenanigans. And we're going to come back with the editorial later, talk about some of this stuff, all right? Talk some mess about some of this stuff, all right? The stuff that we don't like, and tell them how much we don't like it. here in San Antonio, all the shenanigans and the cover-ups and the wild rabies skunks and just all sort of fugitives of murder and this, that, and the third all over the place. We're going to talk about it on the next video. So I'll holler at y'all on the next video. All right, this has been the pre-weekend rundown. All right, and if that's not wild enough, you can only imagine what the post-weekend rundown is going to be like. All right, so stay tuned. All right, this is where you get the news at for San Antonio, Texas. I ain't going to get it like this nowhere else. I'll holler at y'all a little bit later.